Hey everybody, how you doing? We just got back from a 6-night cruise to the Western Caribbean out of Galveston, Texas on Harmony of the Seas. Now, there'll be a full cruise review coming, but I wanted to focus this one because there's a lot of differing opinions out there right now about Royal Caribbean's The Key, which is their quote unquote VIP program for those not in suites. I have some pretty strong opinions about this, but I wanted to just share our experience with you and then tell you the things that we loved about it and the things that Royal could actually improve on to make this an even better program. Spoiler alert, we've already decided whether or not we'll use the Key again, and you'll have to stick around to the end of the video to figure it out. All right, let's jump right into this whole Key thing, right? So the Key is a VIP program that allows you priority embarkation, priority disembarkation. It allows you reserve times for activities. You get a Chops Grill luncheon on the day that you board. Also, when you board, you can get, your luggage taken, your carry-on luggage taken to your stateroom, so you don't have to lug it around all day long. And there's reserved seating for shows. There's just a few really good quality things here that we were excited about going into this. So, first, let's talk price. The price of the Key, what we paid after a decent discount, was $33.99 per person per day. All right. That price includes all those benefits that I talked about, and it includes one device of Voom internet per person, right? So for each Key there was a one device per person that was added. So that cost us again $33.99 per person. The internet alone on the best sale that we saw, or the average sale that we saw, was going to be $24.99 per person per day. So less than $10 more per person per day, right? And we had a 6-night cruise, so 6-7 days right there. So this cruise also was, just last week. We got back on Saturday and had an adventurous time. We had a great time on that cruise. So, all right, let's get into specifics real quick, okay? Let's talk embarkation. Now, I don't know how many of you have been to the Galveston terminal since they've refreshed it. The last time my wife and I went to the Galveston terminal, it was many, many years ago. We were in a completely different location over by where Carnival is. There wasn't a dedicated, brand new, spiffy, Royal Caribbean cruise terminal. And there wasn't parking right up next to it either. So on embarkation day, we had booked covered parking that was right next to the terminal. That's completely outside of the realm of the Key, but we did that, and then we unloaded our luggage and we walked up to where the porters were that would take our luggage, since it already had luggage tags on it and everything, tipped them and walked inside the terminal. From the time that we walked inside the terminal, we had to go up an escalator. There was a dedicated check-in spot, or 5 dedicated check-in spots for the Key members. And so we walked right up to somebody that took our picture, checked our ID, did the whole 9 yards, and then they set us right through into the security line where you go through the x-ray machine and your bags go through bag check, right? Security, basically. TSA for a cruise ship, or CSA. So we got through that process and we walked up to where the staging area was to go get ready to board at our slotted boarding time. And we were there about 35 minutes earlier than our slotted boarding time. And they ushered us right into the ship. It didn't take us, by the time we got into the terminal, it didn't take us but 5 minutes to go through the terminal. And remember, we didn't wait outside. in the heat with a bunch of people trying to drop our luggage off. We gave them to the porters, we walked inside, we went upstairs, boom, we were checked in. There was a line going through multiple lanes over next to us. Those were the people without the key, average, normal cruisers. Some people don't mind that, but for me, being able to get on board the ship, by the time we walked on board, I felt like we had gotten our money's worth, quite honestly. It just was a great experience getting on board. Let's go on to number 2. Number 2 was the carry-on drop-off service that's included with the key. So you go up to the main dining room area where the luncheon is going to be held. And there's a table there, and they have these extra tags, these luggage tags on there. And I walked up and I took my backpack, which I had a bunch of carry-on stuff, my meds, etc. I brought all that stuff on board, carry-on, walked up, gave them my room number, gave them my name. They gave us a key envelope that's had a welcome letter into it and said, hey, welcome to the key, blah, 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 blah. They validated they knew who we were. They took my bags, and that was that. We walked into lunch. That took 15 pounds off my back. So that's not a bad deal. I think there were 2 of us that actually put our bags out there. Out of the 4 that went, there were 2 of us that put bags out there, and they were taken directly to our stateroom. Next thing was, after we got done with that, we went to the welcome lunch. Now let's talk about this welcome lunch for a minute. It's supposed to be the Chops Grill menu. Chops Grill is the premier steakhouse on Royal Caribbean. It's specialty dining. It's the steakhouse of steakhouses when it comes to cruise ships. So the lunch for me was okay. I had some branzino, which is a fish. They have a fish dish. They have steak. They have a burger. And they had something else, and I just don't remember what it was. But you get an appetizer, you get, your main meal, and you get a dessert, and then you get whatever drinks, if you have a drink package or whatever on there. So lunch was okay. It was limited menu. Like I said, there were like 4 or 5 options, and that's it for your main plate. That was all your options. You got 4 or 5 options for your starters and your 2 or 3 options for desserts. But it was pretty good. We didn't not enjoy it. But there's some things that I think, we can work on. But we'll get to the what could be better later. Next thing we did was, it was about 12:30-ish, 12:45-ish, and boom, a message comes across and says, staterooms are now available. So we went to our cabin and immediately noticed that our luggage from downstairs hadn't made it yet. That takes a while regardless. We did get our luggage by about 1:45, but prior to that, when we had gotten to our stateroom, just after eating lunch, walked into it, and our dropped off carry-on bags that we dropped off up at the main dining were sitting right there in our room, ready to go. So I was able to freshen up, my wife was able to freshen up, and we got in there, took a look at our room, looked around, set the air conditioner all the way down as far as possible since we were in the Western Caribbean in July, which is hot. So we had a really good time. And we had ordered some strawberries, chocolate-covered strawberries, to be delivered to our room and our daughter and son-in-law's room as well. But what we didn't expect was that we would get a fruit platter as a part of the key welcome to the stateroom. So it came with like an apple, and it came with a banana, and it came with some grapes or something. It was just a random fruit plate, but it was kind of a nice little touch. It was a, hey, welcome aboard, here, have a snack, some fresh food, etc. So that was kind of cool. Next thing was reserved seating for shows. Now, the first night we went to the Royal Theatre, and in the Royal Theatre they had Grease playing, which is my wife's favorite movie of all time. and we got there 45 minutes ahead, just like we were told to do. So for the key, they tell you get there 45 minutes ahead of a show. And at 45 minutes ahead, they let us in. They had people holding up signs that said reserved for suites, VIP, Diamond Plus, all the bigwigs, right? Except for us key people who are semi-bigwig. So we were in the VIP section, and we happened to be there at just the right time. We were about the fourth people in, and we were in the mid balcony. So there's an upper balcony, mid balcony, and then the ground seats, floor seats. We were mid balcony, directly behind the audio table or the mixer, the music director mixer. And then we were dead center stage. It was great, great seating, absolutely great seating. We had a similar experience with the ice show that we went to see. They had very good seating. It didn't seem like it was going to be the greatest seating when you first got there because it's all the way towards the front of the ice rink and the stage area. But when we were watching the show, you could see everything perfectly from where we were sat. So we used that as well. When it came to the Aqua Theater, to the water show that's at the back of the Harmony, I don't know what their reserved seating looked like. I think it was a couple rows in front of us, but we had made the decision to sit all the way at the back, as far back as we could, because we wanted to get a bigger picture of the Aqua show. So I don't think that, we would have gotten any worse seats by taking those seats, but we were still allowed to go in 45 minutes ahead, and we were able to pick our own seat, didn't have to be in the reserve section. Big deal. We really enjoyed that. We really appreciated it. It's easy to get to a show 45 minutes before it starts. A lot easier than it sounds. So there's that. Next thing is, for us, was Disembarkation. We weren't trying to get off the ship for more than 6 minutes. We got, you have to catch an elevator, which can take 10 minutes just to catch the elevator. We caught an elevator fairly quickly, went down to the promenade deck, which is where, you disembark for the Harmony, and we saw a sign that said the key. We rocked right over. This attendant, she looked at our sea passes, made sure that we had the key emblem on there, opened up a private entrance area, turned around and looked at the people who are, processing the line to get off the ship, and they stopped everybody, moved us in. It truly was VIP treatment. We were downstairs with our bags in less than 5 minutes. Again, those things, the embarkation, the disembarkation, huge deals for me. Those just made the trip so much smoother, so much more enjoyable. At the end of a cruise, you can be fighting people trying to get out, waiting in a long lines, and then they say, oh, you're not here at the right time, etc. So, there was that. I'm gonna take a drink real quick. All right, let's get into something we didn't use. There are dedicated activity times for specific things like the Abyss slide, the surfing simulator, the zip line, etc. We didn't really take advantage of those, so I don't have a good review of those, but what I can tell you is that the times are extremely limited when that's available. Like they'll say, okay, key members only from 7 a.m. to 7:45 a.m. for, whatever, for the Abyss. And it just seemed like, wow, that's limiting the VIP effect, quite honestly, in my opinion. So not super excited about that, but we didn't use it, so don't take that as a knock on the key. It's just something we didn't participate in. What could Royal have done better? What can they do better with the key? Well, to me, there's two things that they can do better. Number one, let's get into the simple one. Better and expanded menu for lunch the day we come aboard. Having to pick from those four things yes, it was nice not to go to the Windjammer and stand in line with 400 people who just got on board or 4,000 people who just got on board. Yes, it was nice having a waiter. It was just like main dining, but the menu is extremely limited. And I think that Royal could do better on that. I think that they could do better on if there is something that sets it apart, sets that luncheon apart from being able to go down to Windjammer and just walk through and pick things up. Now, the steak was on there, the branzino was on there. They were much better dishes, I agree. But having 4 to 5 choices is not a lot of choices when you look at the dinner menu, when you go to main dining room for dinner, and there's 9, 10 different choices for your main entree. So, Royal, get that menu back up, man. Let's get that menu just a little bit better. The second thing and the most important thing to me is, listen, the Key is touted as a VIP program. You're going to get VIP treatment. And embarkation, disembarkation, reserved seating, the welcome lunch, the carry-on drop-off, all of that, awesome. Absolutely VIP treatment. But when we get into port, if there's no tender, you don't get priority boarding and deboarding in the ports. And that to me just seems a little bit silly. If you're going to give priority boarding and deboarding during the tendered ports, you should give it during all the ports to people who have paid for the VIP experience. If there was one thing that would make the Key perfect for us, it would be that port access. Being able to go down there, get in a special line, just like we do to get on board, just like we do to get off board at embarkation and disembarkation. If at each of the ports we had a dedicated line for the Key, this would be a slam dunk, no-brainer, quite honestly, for me. That would make a big difference. Royal, please implement this. I'm telling you, you will get a lot more people getting the Key. All right. What's our overall rating and what's our takeaway? My overall rating of the Key, and my wife agrees, is that it is a 9 out of 10 for us. Now, it's got a little subjectivity to it, right? We were going to buy the internet package, 1 device per person regardless. So we would have paid the $24.99 per person per day just for the internet. But instead, we got the $33.99 per person per day, and it included all these extras, and just being able to get on board in under 10 minutes, being able to get off the ship at the end of the cruise in under 10 minutes, that alone is worth the extra $10 per day, per person, in my opinion. So if you're going to get the internet package, consider the Key. If the other departure ports are anything like Galveston, you will zip through getting on board and zip through getting off board when you're done. And that is really cool. So Royal, in my opinion, good job on the Key. But again, I think that if you're not going to buy the internet package, that's really expensive for embarkation and disembarkation. So if you're going to buy the internet package regardless, my recommendation is get the Key and just give it a run. Give it one run and then come out, post some comments, let me know, what your experience has been with the Key. But ours, walking away the way that we did right now, if every departure port is as easy to get through, getting on board and off of the ship at the end of the cruise as it was in Galveston, we will probably never cruise Royal again without the Key. Because we're going to get the internet regardless, and that alone I was ready to say, hey, it's all worth it when we were 7 minutes on board, right? I was just really ready to say that was it. That did it all for me. But it was even better than that. So I know the Key gets a bad rap. I know that people say, oh, it's just not worth it, and this and that. Man, don't listen to the haters. Don't listen to the naysayers. If you're going to get the internet, consider the Key. If you're not going to get the internet, probably don't want to buy the Key, honestly, because it would be not a good use of your money. So, Royal, good job with the Key, in my opinion. Appreciate any comments. Like this video, share it, consider subscribing to the Becker Out channel, and we'll talk to you soon. See ya. Becker out.